Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anissa Salita and my roommate Muhammad Shafiq Aiman and Shah Faris. Today we are going to present new trade theory. So, new trade theory, there are three percentages which is Helpman 1981, Woodman 1979 and Lancaster 1980 to establish the new trade theory in the late 1970 and 1980. The new trade theory was designed to account for three major facts, which is the ratio of trade to income has increased, trade has become more concentrated among industrialized countries, trade among industrialized countries has been largely in industry trade. So, who is Paul Krugman? Paul Krugman was a leading academic in developing new trade theory. He was awarded a Nobel Prize in 2008 in economics for his contribution in modeling these ideas. The title for his analysis of trade pattern and location of economic activities. He also published articles on a variety of economic topics, including new trade theory, new economic geography, and macroeconomics. He is also a popular journalist and blogger, as well as the author and or editor of 27 books, including International Economy, Theory and Policies, which he co-authored with Maurice, and it is now in 7th edition. He also created a new trade theory as a counter-argument to existing theory, which is traditional trade theory. They explain international trade pattern using comparative advantage and natural resource endowments. He viewed modern-day trade pattern as the result of the interaction of consumer preferences for various brands of items. It encourages specialization in the manufacturing of specific brands and concentrates manufacturing in a few nations to take advantage of economies of scale. So, what is new trade theory? New trade theory is a very large economies of scale and network effect that might develop in major industry are a crucial component in determining international trade pattern. This economy of scale and network effect can be so powerful that they can even exceed the standard principle of comparative advantage. In some industries, there have been no observable differences in opportunities cost between two countries at any one time. However, if a country focuses on a single industry, it may profit from economies of scale and other network benefits. So another aspect of new trade theory is that enterprise with benefit of being the first to enter the market can become dominant. This is because initial enterprise benefit from significant economies of scale, making new enterprise unable to compete with the incumbents. This indicates that little competition is probable in this global industry with very significant economies of scale, with the market dominated by early entrants, resulting in monopolistic competition. So, monopolistic competition is a key component of new trade theory, as it implies in enterprise compete on a variety of factors other than price, such as branding and quality. It explains why countries have the ability to both export and import, for example, designer clothing. The growth of globalization is also explained by the new trade theory. It means that poor developing economy may find it difficult to grow particular industry because they lag too far behind the developer world economy of scale. This is attributable to the mature firm existing economies of scale rather than any inherent competitive advantage. So we are moving to how to apply new trade theory in international business and the differences between new trade theory and traditional trade theory.
How to apply new trade theory in international business. New trade theory called absolute advantage, which focus on the ability of a country to produce a good more efficiently than another nation's. Trade between countries shouldn't be regulated or restricted by the government policy or interventions. The trade should flow naturally according to the market forces in a hypothetical two-country world. If a country A could produce a good cheaper or faster or both than country B, then country A had the advantage and could focus on specializing on producing that good. Similarly, if country B was better at producing another good, it could focus on specialization as well. With increased efficiencies, people if both countries will benefit and trade should be encouraged. The theory stated that a nation's wealth should be judged by how much gold and silver it had but rather by the living standards of its people. For example, Malaysia can focus on the production of petroleum to China, while China can focus on production smartphones to Malaysia. So it is a win-win situations and all parties can get benefit from it. Linking new trade theory with firms. Internationalizations, new theory of internationalizations. It is now clear from the above discussion that the process of phenomenon of internationalization is more strategic in nature, taking into account the strategic interdependence of the rival firms in international markets. These dimensions of the internationalization is not extant in a coherent form in the available theories and models of, of internationalization in international business literature, specifically in a strategic trade policy context. Two conclusions arise related to firms' internationalization from these discussions. First, a strategic process of internationalization can be conceptualized arising now of the competitive interaction amongst firms in international markets. The term strategic also implies that such process will be more applicable on firms competing in the market for differentiated products under monopolistic competition or oligopoly. For example of such industries are electronic industries, pharmaceutical, and space science. Second conclusion is a normative extension of the first set of conclusions. This states that the home government pro-competitive support to the domestic champions can affect the strategic process of home firms, internationalization in imperfect markets. The new trade theory has termed such support as the pre-commitment by the home government which is executed through strategic trade policy.
Next, we proceed to the differences between new trade theory and traditional trade theory. Trade theory can be classified into two categories, namely traditional theory, which has a neoclassical foundation, and the second one is new trade theories. Traditional trade theory incorporates the principle of perfect competition, homogeneous goods, and constant return to scale in production, while the new trade theory includes theories characterized by a product differential, imperfect competition, and increasing returns to scale. Traditional trade theory. There are three theories that are stated in traditional trade theory. First one is Adam Smith's theory of absolute advantage that stated that trade facilitates a more intense application of the division of labor in the production process. Ricardian model of comparative advantage state that trade is determined by relative and not absolute efficiency in production. And third one, Heckscher of Lead HO model state that the country exports those goods which intensively uses its abundant factor and import those goods which are intensive in its scarce factor. There are four criticisms of traditional trade theory. First one, resources are country-specific and constant in quality and in full employment across countries. Second one, technology is either fixed or similar and freely available to all nations. The third one, perfect competition prevails. And the last one, trade is strictly carried out among anonymous producers as government play no role in international economic relations. Implication of trade theory for competitiveness. Enlarge a country's consumption capacities and provide access to scarce resources and world market. Country can influence the country can influence the patterns of income distribution by influencing the relative prices of goods through subsidies, tariffs, depreciation, allowance, and etc. Trade, trade volumes will be positively correlated with differences in factor endowments that the trade pattern will reflect differences in endowments on average. Next, we proceed to the new trade theory, the assumption of perfect competition, which is replaced by imperfect competition, or also known as constant return, which is non-increasing returns to scale, which is replaced by increasing to return, which is replaced by increasing returns to scale. The definition of an industry in terms of homogeneous goods, which is replaced by a product differentiation. There are four criticisms of new trade theory. Although an early entrance to market allows monopoly advantage within country, but it may not necessarily promote export monopoly. The second one, price of product increase within country as compared to lowered prices offered abroad. The third one may not benefit local context in pricing advantage, as it will have to consider the pricing that will benefit the export returns. And the last one, price may rise within the producing country in order to allow lowered prices for export entry into countries abroad, thus creating export monopoly. New trade theory has highlighted the existence of specialization due to increasing returns. The first one is imperfect competition. Firms are not simply price takers and do not face a horizontal demand curve. Each firm can costlessly differentiate its product from other firms. Second one, economies of scale. Economies of scale can be classified in the following ways: static intra-firm technological economies of scale, static external economies, and dynamic economies of scale. The third one, product differentiation. Early models of intra-industry trade, products are grouped into industries. Intra-industry trade, which was due to specialization within industries, was primarily driven by economies of scales in production. And the last one is new trade theory, some implication for the role of government. New trade theory has elegantly proven that government intervention can secure efficient industrialization. Some of the reasons for this are rent extracting and rent shifting, reducing marginal costs, protection promotes additional entry and may lead to price decreases and new trade theory. That's all. Thank you.